Hey YouTube family, what is going on? Thanks so much for tuning in. Welcome to the channel. I'm Deborah. This is Purusha Intuitive, and we are looking at the astrology for the week. So welcome. I really appreciate you tuning in. Actually, I'm going to back it up for a second because we have two different astrological events happening this week. So I will touch on the weekly astrology in this video, but it's actually going to be geared more towards the new moon that's happening April 20th. It's a new moon solar eclipse in Aries. It is our second new moon in the Aries season, so kind of cool. And I'll give you reason as to why as it progresses. Whoop whoop. And then we move into Mercury retrograde on April 21st. It is going to be a little bit of a tense week. I'm not going to lie. You know, Mercury retrograde has a way of stirring things up. Eclipses bring in a lot of change. Solar eclipse specifically is that external change. And it's coming off the heels of us really kind of having to dig in deep to who we are, what we want, and how we're going to show up in our life. Making sure that we're walking our walk, talking our talk, that type of vibe. So this week, April 17th through the 23rd, we walk in feeling a little, I don't know, Mercury starts to kind of play this role of bringing up tensions, frustrations, things that we get triggered by, you know, underneath the surface. And they might not even be the hugest thing. It can just be someone like pisses you off or whatever. And Venus square to Saturn makes it really hard for us to find ways to be nice, to kind of give that extra love and compassion. There is a lot of tension this week, so that value is going to be really hard overall. Just keep that in mind, especially as you're dealing with people you see on a regular basis, lovers, co-workers, bosses, whatever. People that you have to kind of maintain a certain status quo with. Be careful to not let the fire or the frustration, the anger, the tension get the best of you. It is going to be known to happen this week. I'm sending all the love in the process. So just remember that, like, I think it's like we see things very clearly, the things that need to change, the things that need to happen. But, you know, as humans, we all have this way of fantasizing how it's going to work out versus how it actually works out. And so our Mars energy is really pushing towards certain change, certain shifting in dynamics. Again, we feel like this sense of empowerment, like we are the little man, we're braving new territory and, you know, going to pave the way. Whether or not that's true or not is really going to show up in the situations that you find yourself in this week. So again, just be really mindful. Pluto is actually playing a huge role in the new moon solar eclipse this week. As I mentioned, solar eclipses are all about outside transition. So we are going to see this pop up between, you know, our relationships, our outside environments, change in jobs, you know, relationships, dynamics, etc. There's a huge push for that change to manifest, and in a way that's actually like more honoring for you, yourself. We're in Aries season. It rules the house of self. And it's loosely conjunct with Jupiter, which is our fortune, and that Chiron of healing, growth, doing the work, right? You know, we know that we need to put action steps behind the things that we want, how we want our life to look, being happy, being well, etc. And so if we're doing that, then things are going to align a little bit more fluidly, where if we're not, if we're trying to do like shortcuts, etc., that's definitely going to, you know, pop up this week. So just be mindful of that. There's also this element of, you know, kind of wanting to, like I said, like fight for, maybe it's our own belief system, how we wish things were. Like I said, we all have those kind of fantasies about how things are going to work out. I think we are going to struggle a little bit with the reality of that. That also manifests with the sun and the moon square to the vertex point. If we are not listening to our intuition, to what we need to do, when, where, etc., then we're going to end up missing our opportunity. That's huge. It's not about pushing. It's about doing it at the right time, if that makes sense. So, you know, Pluto is not going to be very forgiving. It's in Aquarius right now. It just entered into, it stays in each sign for a lot of years. Like, we will never see the transition of Pluto beyond this point. So it is kind of exciting event. It's also dealing with, you know, we really have to, it's like the power struggle. There's always going to be tension. There's always going to be opposing opinions, perspectives, beliefs, etc. It's not about justifying your perspective. It's actually about learning how to work with the perspectives that are present. How can we find that harmony, that balance? That is what it means to bring together, right, community. Aquarius rules the 11th house, friendships, hopes, wishes, etc. So it's our more utopian desires. It's fighting for the little man, right? We all want to be seen, we all want to be heard and understood, etc. And it's not as much of that chaotic, rebellious energy. Well, if you don't understand me, then I'm going to say F you or whatever, right? So that's going to be the dichotomy. And not letting our emotions get the best of us. With that Saturn in Pisces, it also has a square aspect to Venus, which I talked about a little bit ago, which makes it hard for us to be forgiving about people's dualistic nature. Venus is in Gemini. We all have yin, yang, masculine, feminine, dark, light, however you want to say it, right? We all have that stuff embodied within us. Depending on our awareness, how conscious we are, will dictate what we're going to be operating out of, whether it's going to be the ego or the authentic self, right? And Venus is our ability to love even through the hardship, even through the process. Way easier said than done, especially if we're in situations that are really triggering, difficult, weighty, oppressive, overwhelming, etc. 100%, we've all been there, right? And it doesn't make it easy to want to rise above, you know, and be a person of integrity. Therefore, especially with the South Node in Scorpio, it's bringing us back into more of those basic primitive desires, saying the FUs, running your mouth, whatever else, doing the catty, petty, gossipy BS. We can all do that, right? That's ego. You know, or we can try to be better than that. And when we are better than that, we actually not only honor that other person, but we honor ourselves first and foremost. You know, that is that exchange of reciprocity. So there is going to be conflict, right? Because we want certain things to look a certain way. But as we know, there's dualistic nature in everything. We need both. But they can also be very contradictory, right? And finding that balance happens when we listen to our instincts, when we wait for the right time, when we observe, listen to what our gut is saying, the, subliminal messages, subconscious messages, whatever that we're picking up from people, our environment, etc. Those are all giving us the tools to know how to manage the situation at hand. Depending on how this shows up in your chart will really dictate where this is happening in your own life, where you're feeling this weight and pressure. Again, it's a difficult one. This can give rise to a lot of tension, a lot of conflict, a lot of strife. And we don't normally see that with new moons, in my opinion. But I think it's because what's coming in is a lot of what we've been navigating through over these last couple years has been a cleaning, purging out process. The idea is to rise above, to be that person of integrity, or collectively, let's all be of integrity and rise above so that we can live in a more harmonious, balanced world. Utopian, probably, but that's the idea that we can all live in peaceful, happy harmony. I think if you're doing the work, period, you're going to be starting to see some fruits of your labor manifest. And that's where the positive comes into. You're not going to get as triggered. You're not going to react as strongly, etc., to what's going on in your environment. So I think that pretty much covers our new moon in Aries. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about, it's our second new moon. So new moon is usually when we plant seeds, when we set intention. Aries is all about focusing on ourselves, who we are. This is our second new moon in Aries, and the way that we set intentions for the second new moon is actually going to give us this change. We've had the last month to kind of figure out how are things playing out, what's really going on, does this really work for me, what adjustments do I need to be making, etc. And the more that we become aware of those things, this second new moon is going to actually help us kind of set a little bit deeper intentions, more conscious, more in alignment with what we want. It's going to help us be stronger, empowered, badass. Yeah, so finding that inspiration through the process, not always easy, especially because, like I was talking about earlier, we all get fixed in what we want, how we want it to look. Capricorn energy is that energy of strength, digging deep, using the elements that you have to work with. It's ruled by Saturn. Saturn teaches us our lessons. It's not forgiving at all. We just got to do the work, plain and simple. And that's actually giving us our power, tapping into that sacred knowledge, meditation, intuitive messages through quiet time reflection meditation is what I meant. Hearing that guidance from beyond, exploring other options, new ways to do things, branching out, don't leave yourself so limited is what I'm hearing. Yeah, especially, and that's exactly what this eclipse is going to bring us. I love that confirmation. It's going to bring us new options, new opportunities, especially based upon, there's that duality, Gemini. Like I said, especially based upon what we've been dealing with. And Mercury retrograde is going to be the confirmation of this. With that Neptune energy right there, it's the confirmation that if we have been doing the work, we will be overcoming those lessons as we move through Mercury retrograde. To tame our rebellious forces, finding a little bit more balance, learning to work in harmony with life, with all that surrounds us. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this reading for the new moon solar eclipse. Thanks so much for your time and energy. I'm sending lots of love and blessings to all that you're moving through. Definitely reach out if you would like some support. I'm here. I love helping and guiding and directing through readings, healings, wellness consults, etc. Definitely email me if you're interested. Big thumbs up if it resonated. Drop comments below. Let's build and grow the community. Lots of love and blessings.